You already know what time it is. Welcome back into the NFL with AJL, episode 102. And I'm sure you'll notice something different. We are not live. We are doing a pre-recorded podcast. Going for a little bit of a different approach. Want to see if I can give you guys some better quality on the post-production. I know sometimes when I give takes or when I'm live streaming, the connection can cut out, just straight up pause me for a moment. And I could be delivering a really great take or a really great segment for you guys. So I wanted to be able to avoid that. So please excuse me up front on this episode if you hear me say, y'all get in the chat. I'm really meaning get in the comments. If you hear me say like and share the stream, I'm really meaning like and share the podcast wherever you may be watching. I'm used to going live. I did 101 episodes of this podcast live, and I'm going to switch to pre-recorded for a little bit for a few episodes, see how it goes, and ultimately I'll keep you guys posted, and we'll still keep the content coming, no doubt about that. But thank you for tuning in. You could have been anywhere else in the world, but you're right here tapped in with us on the show on episode 102. Hope you guys have had a great April so far. Easter is coming up. This year is not slowing down, so let's keep putting one foot in front of the other, and always with our busy lives, thank you for making the NFL with AJL one of your preferred podcasts to listen to. Y'all, please make sure to like and share the podcast wherever you're watching or listening. Subscribe on YouTube. Hit the bell so you never miss a post as well for any type of content on the YouTube platform. The QR code there in the corner of the screen will give you every bit of social media and podcast content, or the link down in the description as well at NFL with AJL on all your social media and podcast platforms. We've got an absolute great episode today. We are looking at the top 5 NFL draft cornerbacks. More Derek Carr and Saints drama is probably kicking up to an all-time high now. We're also taking a look at the best first-round picks for every NFC West team in the 2025 NFL draft, and then how college football was potentially ruined and saved in the same day between Nico Iamaleava's holdout and the way that him and Coach Josh Heupel were going back and forth about the situation. So y'all get in the comments as we get through the podcast. Let me know what you think. Let's go ahead and jump right into it as we got the top 5 NFL draft corners. We'll go from 5 to 1. At number 5, give me Trey Amos out of Ole Miss. He's 6'1", 195 pounds, ran a 4.43, so has good speed for the position. 3 interceptions, 13 pass breakups, 50 tackles on the year. He was targeted 62 times in coverage. He allowed 32 catches for 280 yards, 2 touchdowns, only a 54.5 passer rating allowed by him in coverage, and PFF actually graded him out pretty well at 85.6. Let's take a look at some of his pros. 13 pass breakups last year in 2024 was the highest single season total for any Ole Miss defender since 2015, so it's been a decade since that was done in the SEC. You have to respect it. He started all 13 games, and this is a guy who was really good at press man. You could call him a press man technician if you like. He really brings all of his moves to the table, all of his moves to the line of scrimmage when it comes to jamming receivers, possibly peeking into the backfield, whatever the situation might be for Trey Amos. He brings what maybe you would want to call the kitchen sink to the line of scrimmage when he's facing off against some of these wide receivers. He quickly closes those throwing windows as well when he pursues the point of attack on routes. He rarely gets fooled by route concepts or quarterback manipulation, whether it's the eyes, a shoulder fake, a pump fake, whatever the case may be, and really exceptional recovery speed when he's beaten as well. I think that's really important for a corner in the NFL and really in football, of course, right? Or in sport. Your recovery speed when you're caught out of alignment or out of your assignment is going to be very important, and that's something that he definitely brings to the table. He's very good against vertical routes as well, and he's got good ball skills. Now let's take a look at some of his cons. He can get a little too grabby in downfield coverage. He does have some deficiencies in his tackling technique when he goes up against bigger players like bigger wide receivers, maybe even bruising running backs. His press alignment at times can get over aggressive as well, and it could leave him vulnerable to those quick inside releases when you're playing up too close to the receiver on the line of scrimmage, and that can really exploit his positioning as well. So you got to keep an eye out for him on that aspect with the cons of him as a corner in the 2025 NFL draft. Y'all excuse me for a moment. So Trey Amos at number 5 out of Ole Miss. At number 4, give me Benjamin, or Ben as they call him, Morrison out of Notre Dame. 6 foot, 193 pounds. ran a 4.39, no interceptions in 2024 for him. He did have 3 pass breakups, though, 20 total tackles. He was targeted 27 times, only allowed 12 catches for 125 yards, no touchdowns, while allowing a 58.4 passer rating in coverage as well. 71.4 PFF grade, so not too great, but that is a little skewed because he only played 6 games in 2024. He had a hip injury in week 7, and he was a Thorpe Award semifinalist in 2023 when he was last healthy, which is absolutely great to see. Oh, excuse me, guys. Of course, my nose doesn't run all day, and then now we get on the podcast and it wants to do that. Probably cut this part out. He has a real nose for the football, though, when you talk about Ben Morrison's pros. He's constantly breaking up a pass, disrupting the catch process for a wide receiver, putting his body and athleticism on the line a lot in order to be able to make a play. And he's got multiple games with 2+ interceptions in his career. I mean, you go and take a look at some of his tape. You know, you're watching some of his highlights, and you're like, wow, they are calling this guy's name early and often throughout the game because that's how often he has that nose for the football, really being that playmaker in the secondary. And he's not going to shy away from playing tough with wide receiver ones like Marvin Harrison Jr. We saw him go up against him in his career not too long ago. 9 career interceptions, ranked second among Notre Dame defenders since 1996, so almost a 30-year standing record there. He's got good processing speed on routes with wide receivers, outstanding leverage and press coverage as well, and he really uses his quick feet and his fluid hips to be able to stay in phase with a receiver. Pretty good ball skills for the position as well. Really tracks the ball like a receiver, shows some of his natural hands. Very good tackler as well, and he can play outside or, get plugged into the slot position effectively and really show off his versatility there. Now, some of his cons, he did struggle at times with those more physical receivers who could box him out, at the next level in the NFL. He did have that recent hip surgery, so that does raise some concerns for his durability, but you'll just have to see how he plays out when he does get drafted. I think this guy in the right situation is probably a late first, early second round pick, but you never know with how the draft can roll out on April 24th. And even though his previous injury history was clean, that does make you feel good about where he's at. Again, 9 career interceptions, Thorpe Award semifinalist in 2023. Like, there are some promising things here with Ben Morrison. No question about that. He does have some difficulty disengaging from larger blocking receivers when he's forced to set the edge. He can sometimes get boxed out by those bigger wide receivers as well. But if you draft Ben Morrison out of Notre Dame, who I have as the 4th best corner in the class, you will not be disappointed. Let's take a look at Will Johnson, who is number 3 here on my list, out of Michigan, the 2024 national champion, who has been a cornerstone to that Michigan defense all the years that he's been there. 6'2", 194 pounds, ran a 4.56. 2 interceptions last year that he took both of them to the house for 6 points. 3 pass breakups, 14 tackles, only targeted 26 times in coverage. He allowed 16 catches for 195 yards, no touchdowns, 52.6 passer rating given up when he's in coverage, and a 76.5 PFF grade, which felt a little questionable to me because we know Will Johnson has consistently been mentioned with some of those top-tier corners in college football, holds that Michigan record for the most pick sixes with 3, and this guy really thrives in versatile situations. You put him in zone, you put him in press man, like he's going to play well there. His ability to sniff out a screen pass and take it to the house, I think is just absolutely insane. If there was a specific trait for that in the class, Will Johnson would be A+, number 1 on the board. No question about it. It's almost like he's in the huddle with the offense, the way that he plays so sound at the cornerback position. Very good play recognition. I think him, honestly, and Travis Hunter have the best mechanics and play style of a true corner in this class when you watch them on tape. Fluid hips, quick feet, doesn't seem to get knocked off balance by wide receivers or really in coverage. He's very patient. He doesn't overcommit to any part of the play, and he truly plays through every moment in his assignments as a cornerback, which is something that you absolutely need at the position, because if you slip, if you open your hips too early, if you misplace your feet, you're going to get burnt, you're going to get cut by a wide receiver, and you're giving up a play at that point. He anticipates and jumps underneath routes really well also, which is a very, very good, trait for him. He's good at fighting through blocks, which is rare for a corner in college football when you take a look at a lot of the guys that come through, the draft process. And he's very good at directing wide receivers out of bounds. That's also another top trait he has, really using that sideline as an extra defender, a very solid tackler, who can hit big as well. Now, when you look at some of his cons, he can get grabby downfield when he gets beaten on routes. He does have some missed tackles that jumped up in his junior year, and kind of has a gambler's mentality when he starts looking into the backfield for interceptions at times, maybe trying to read the quarterback's eyes too heavily. And sometimes he can be left vulnerable to double moves as well, and he doesn't really have the recovery speed in order to get back into his assignment or alignment if that double move does catches him. Let's get to the top 2 cornerbacks in the 2025 NFL draft class. Number 2, Jahdae Barron out of Texas. He is a Longhorn, the Thorpe Award winner, which is the best cornerback, the most outstanding cornerback in college football. 5'11", 194 pounds, ran a sub 4.4 40 at actually 4.39, 5 interceptions, 11 pass breakups, 67 tackles, no touchdowns given up on the season, a 34 passer rating, and he was graded higher than Travis Hunter, speaking of Jahdae Barron out of Texas, at 90.7. Now, some of his pros, he is that aggressive slot corner who can also be that multi-role outside cornerback, high football IQ, and that character really reflects in his play and through his teammates as well. Multiple times on the tape, you saw him flying in on a blitz, tracking down a ball carrier at the line of scrimmage, really utilizing that elite play and route recognition that he possesses mentally. And he's, really a ball hawk with some good tracking skills. He can routinely sniff out and ruin routes as well. No touchdowns given up on the year shows that he's elite situationally. No question about that as a number 2 corner in the class. And he's very capable at playing in multiple schemes, multiple alignments. He kind of reminds me of Isaiah Simmons at corner. He kind of reminds me of Isaiah Simmons, who's a linebacker. I really wish his NFL career would have been better than it has been. But Jahdae Barron is a corner, and I feel like he's very versatile like Isaiah Simmons, and hopefully his career pans out better than Isaiah's has. And he's splitting time almost evenly between boundary corner and nickel, also got significant snaps in the box as well. So again, he's just that versatile corner in the class. He routinely beats receivers to their spot on underneath routes and disrupts the timing with precise breaks as well. Now, you take a look at his cons. It does take him a minute to hit that top speed and get to that sub 4.4 speed, which is kind of weird, but if you're talking about a trait that affects, that would be his acceleration. I think he could pick up on that. So sometimes those speedy wide receivers can beat him on the outside, maybe stack him vertically down the field, and he just might get beat or take a minute to catch up to him if he even gets that chance on a vertical route against a deep threat, speed receiver. And bigger receivers can get physical with him as well, being under 6 foot, being under 200 pounds. He can get a bit too handsy in coverage at times also if you catch him down the field in some of those longer assignments. And then, of course, at number 1, we all know the best cornerback in the class, the Shohei Ohtani, the Babe Ruth of college football, whatever you want to call Travis Hunter out of Colorado. That is what he is the best corner in the NFL draft. A freak athlete, 6 foot, 188 pounds, ran a 4.4 flat, 4 interceptions, 11 pass breakups, 35 tackles, allowing just over 50% completions on targets that were thrown his way. Only 1 touchdown this year, given up after, I think, 5 last year that he gave up in coverage. Gave up a 39.9 passer rating as well, and graded just a little lower than Jahdae Barron at 88.2 by PFF. And Travis Hunter just plays so well in multiple positions at the corner. I mean, zone, man, he's very quick at flipping his hips and putting himself in position to make a play. A real nose for the football with many pass breakups and interceptions in his career. I think his change of direction at the position is the best in the class, no question about it. And his wide receiver background, those hands really complement him at the DP position as well. Very good awareness, very good vision. Like, you will see him undercut routes, track down screens on ball carriers or ball carriers at the line of scrimmage, in the backfield. It's literally like he is playing receiver, but at the defensive position, which is clearly what corner is, right? But the way that he just tracks some of these receivers, the way that he just follows them throughout their stems, their techniques, their routes, like, you can tell he has a true understanding of the position that he is guarding, which I think is what makes him so special as a player. And again, just an overall freak athlete with his speed, his vert, his change of direction, the play recognition, the way he follows a ball carrier, the way he follows a receiver is, again, like I just mentioned, absolutely crazy. Hell of a tackler to have a small frame at 188 pounds as well. The only con I would say that Travis Hunter really has is he's got a light frame. That does give him a length advantage at corner for sure, but you'll see offensive linemen and bigger receivers, bigger running backs overpower him at times. But I think Travis Hunter can put on weight in the NFL, maybe get to, 195, 200. I don't think you want your corners necessarily that big, but we could probably see him bulk up and be able to get even better at the position than that he already is. So you guys get in the comments. Let me know what you think of my top 5 NFL draft corners for the 2025 season. Travis Hunter, number 1, Jahdae Barron, number 2, Will Johnson, number 3, Ben Morrison, number 4, Trey Amos, number 5, Denzel Burke, probably an honorable mention as well there. But yes, I would love to hear from you guys in the comments. Y'all let me know what you think about the NFL draft talk so far. College football was arguably broken and restored all in a matter of days/moments. And what I'm talking about here is Nico Iamaleava actually is entering the transfer portal after holding out from Tennessee spring practice, multiple practices if I'm not mistaken, over a new NIL deal. What are we even talking about here with these athletes anymore when it comes to NIL? And I don't think that, like in this case, yes, did NIL ruin college football? Yes, sure. But do I think NIL overall as a whole is ruining college ball? No, I don't, because I think it's great that these students who are being televised and being interviewed and, now they're allowed in commercials and, all of these other things they're allowed to do now from NIL because they are on the cusp of becoming professional athletes. Now, I know back in the day, college athletes didn't get paid. That's what made a lot of people love the sport of college. Oh, they're still hungry. They're still working for it. No question about that. And they are still hungry and they are still working for a lot of things because we see, 9-figure contracts handed out in the NFL all the time, $100 million+ deals, no matter how many years are attached to it. So in the right situations, yes, I think NIL is fair and good for college athletes. But when it comes down to moments like this, when you have your starting quarterback who's on an $8 million NIL deal since 2022, which was the junior year of high school, in the spring to be exact. He already had an $8 million deal in his junior year, getting $350,000 up front of the deal in his senior year, and then making about $2 million a year every year after for the next 4. And you're telling me because you're entering the final year of your contract, which, yes, it is a contract, you're going to hold out as a college player? Buddy, you just had your first real season of starts. You just made your first road start in the year. 11 of your 19 touchdown passes came against inferior competition. You shrunk in SEC play, Nico. But you're going to hold out like you were in the Heisman conversation. Yeah, you made it to the college football playoffs. Yeah, you did, for sure. You also got blown out by Ohio State, which I'm not going to knock you for. But don't act like you and other teammates, and this has happened in other parts of college football, didn't threaten to not play in the CFP if you didn't get paid more NIL money by Tennessee. Now, I'm assuming Tennessee came forward with the bag and paid him. I'm not sure the exact specifics there, but I do know that story is true of Nico and his teammates possibly holding out if Tennessee didn't come forward with more NIL money. Which is just, again, what are we freaking talking about here with these college athletes? And I'm going to give a shout out to Josh Heupel, the head coach of Tennessee, man. Good for Josh Heupel for sticking it to Nico Iamaleava. Said no one is above the program, and they're just going to move on without him. I'm sure it was hard for Josh because him and Nico had a lot of great moments in the season. And, Nico's a solid player. I'm not going to say he's great. I'll say he's above average, like scraping on good. But again, we have to see more reps out of this guy in college football. Nico wanted a Bugatti Chiron, which is a $3 to $4 million car. He wanted to double his NIL pay from $2.2 million to $4 million, which is about the market of other college football transfers. And the fact that he even threatened to not play in the CFP against Ohio State, like no wonder they got their ass smacked by Ohio State. Is that what was going on with the team? Was this the type of energy that was hanging around for the team? Honestly. And it's sad because Tennessee is a good football program. And again, shout out Josh Heupel for sticking to his guns, setting that example for the world. Again, you could argue that it was broken and restored in a matter of moments, days, however you want to look at the timeline of Nico holding out. And this is crazy. I mean, I saw people posting on Twitter. They were like, "Oh, Joe Burrow was a transfer, and Kyler Murray was a transfer, and Baker Mayfield was a transfer, and or I think Baker was a walk-on, excuse me. But all of these transfers, right? Cam Ward obviously transferred, Jaden Daniels transferred, I think Michael Penix transferred. It's not a bad thing to transfer, but the context of your situation and really your situations in life, right? Like that's really going to matter. That's really going to matter. And having to go into the transfer portal this late in the year is risky. It's very risky. Thankfully for Nico's luck, the spring portal did just open up Wednesday, April 16th, which is the day that I'm recording this, and it closes next Friday, April 25th. So he's got some time, but where is he going to go play? I haven't even looked into his potential landing spots because I was really more hooked on this story, but I've heard UCLA, maybe USC, Ole Miss. I mean, who knows, right? Apparently there's teams out there waiting for his NIL demand to drop to $1 million a year, and then they'll go after him. So yes, in the same, in one breath, you could say, okay, I'm not mad at him for trying to get his money. Because we say that all the time about, professional athletes. Like if you're going to get a chance to go get the bag, then go get it because you're going to make more than most people ever will on the existence of this earth. And Nico's already made close to $8 million and the dude can't even legally drink. He's 20. So you've already made more money than most people will before you even get to the league and then just really stack the checks and the paper on top of that. But this is an interesting story. This is a very, very interesting story, and it's going to be interesting to see how the rest of Nico's career plays out. Because I don't know, for some reason I didn't expect this news to come out of Tennessee. I didn't expect Nico out of all quarterbacks to be the one wrapped up in the middle of this. But it is what it is. He's made his decision. So is Tennessee. They're not going to negotiate with student athletes, as Josh Heupel said, which is really great. And they'll continue to move on, and we'll see how the rest of Nico Iamaleava's career plays out. We've got some more Derek Carr and New Orleans Saints drama, and it is officially now at an all-time high as Derek Carr apparently has a shoulder injury threatening his season. Surgery is on the table. But let's just come out and freaking say it. Derek Carr wants a trade from the Saints, and that's why he's playing this move. Do I think the shoulder injury is fake? No. I'm not going to come on the record and say that because it is no right for me, even though it might be weird saying this, having a podcast criticizing players and teams in the league. It is no right for me to say whether a player is faking an injury or not. I just don't want to go to that realm. But this news comes out 2 weeks before the draft, after you've restructured your deal and got your money. There's no cap savings or money savings for the Saints if they move off of you. You hear the noise of the Saints possibly picking a quarterback at 9, the Shedeur Sanders, the Jackson Dart news picking up. You see the Saints being diligent, working out other quarterbacks. Derek Carr, you've been in the league for over a decade. We know what you are. We don't have to keep, peeling through that. The NFL is a business. The year they draft you, they're probably drafting your replacement. And the next year, every year after that, they're drafting a replacement because they want the best possible talent on the cheapest contract. But it's a little different for Derek because of his context. We just already know what type of player that he is. The team that drafted him moved on from him, and the Saints stupidly came forward and paid him the money that they did. And he's arguably going to go down as the worst free agent signing in Saints history. Jarris Byrd, move over. All the other bad free agent signings, move over. Take the cake. Brandon Browner, I think it was. You guys move over because Derek Carr is taking a seat at the table with you. His brother and him are coming out with a car review video. Derek Carr was just in Fresno State or in Fresno not long ago, and I'm not trying to telegraph or keep tabs on the dude's life, but stuff's not adding up here. Because Kellen Moore said he took the job with the full anticipation of having Derek Carr as the Saints starting quarterback. Mickey Loomis said Derek Carr was the Saints starting quarterback for 2025. New head coach Kellen Moore said, maybe think of Ellen Moore. New head coach of Kellen Moore, out here saying that he thinks Derek Carr is a premier player. He's blessed to have him in the locker room. Okay, all of those signs, and then you get the restructure. But now he's battling a shoulder injury. It's just fishy as hell. And just the crap for Derek Carr keeps stacking up. I feel like I'm Cam Jordan right here because there has literally been levels to this. In the offseason, man, you can do what you want. You got family, you got kids, you're not from here. I get that. But if you are an NFL quarterback for the New Orleans Saints and you're the QB1, you're the face of the franchise, and you're not at Mardi Gras just for one day? You're not attending the Super Bowl in the city that you play for? And I think what makes relationships between fans and players so special is if the player actually embodies the culture of the city. We saw Kirk Cousins last year walk in your trap and take over your trap. Like, we saw Kirk really enforcing the ATL vibe, but we can't even get that out of Derek Carr. And again, offseason, do what you want, man. You work hard. You're a professional athlete. You're worth a ton of money. You got a completely different process than anybody behind a mic, myself included, or other people in the world could probably even fathom because of how hard it is to be a professional athlete. But I think all the fans in the city were asking for was some support from Derek Carr. And it doesn't really feel like we've had that in the time that he's been here. Yes, we probably haven't given him the best roster. Yes, we haven't given him the healthiest player. So he has his own claims as well for wanting out, right? We totally get that. But I think what pisses me off about this, and I don't hear enough people saying this, is how the Saints and Derek Carr both knew about this injury for a while. Apparently, it's stemming from the 2023 season, maybe from the Packers game when our O-line was terrible. I really don't know. That's what I would guess, and that's kind of the reports that I've seen. But did the Saints try to cover this up and just get him moved quietly somewhat? Because it makes perfect sense now by why we never really got any true Derek Carr trade traction in this offseason. Despite him wanting to leave, those other teams, they didn't want the contract, which has been screwed from the beginning. They didn't want that player with that injury, if the injury is really there. So it's like when you sit back and look on this, okay, new coach hired. He believes in the quarterback. We're moving forward with him. Dummy GM is signing off on him. Got the Saints convinced that that's it. Meanwhile, whole time, he's had a shoulder injury. Are you hiding stuff from the head coach? Is he really hurt and that's why these other teams didn't want him? What is going on here? I feel like it's one of the two. Either Kellen Moore was lied to and convinced that Derek Carr was healthy, and that's why we were going to move forward with him. Or I guess it would be the same thing. And on the other hand, these NFL teams didn't want to be interested in him, which makes it feel like there's some truth to the situation because of the injury. Or maybe it's just the contract and the player. It could lean on the side of the contract and the player. And all this could be a hoax. I'm not going to sit here and go Inspector Gadget and play a game of Clue to figure out what the real truth is, but a lot of this stuff isn't adding up. A lot of it's not. Again, the Saints have no dead money savings, no cap savings if they cut him, trade him June 1, post June 1. His guaranteed money for the year has already went into effect, kicking that cap hit of next year for like $60 million into 2025. Restructure is already done, which of course had to be done to get cap compliant. But this 100% explains why the Saints have been extremely diligent looking at quarterbacks in the draft between Jackson Dart, Shedeur Sanders, apparently Jalen Milroe, Tyler Shuck, which I only want Shedeur at number 9. Please do not draft Jackson Dart at 9. If you grab a quarterback later in the draft, that's cool because now we hear the Saints are on an absolute mission to get a quarterback in this draft, which they've drafted a quarterback for the last 5 years, but now that you're at number 9, go draft a quarterback when it matters, New Orleans. My eyes are on you. Go draft a quarterback at number 9 where it really freaking counts. Please. We're not talking about these Tommy Steemans, Jake Hayners, Ian Books of the world. No. Pick number 9 now has to be a quarterback for the New Orleans Saints. And I think it's got to be Shedeur Sanders because I'm not sold on Jackson Dart. We've talked about that. Cam Ward's not going to be there. Kyle McCord is not a day 1 pick. Again, Jackson Dart is not a day 1 pick. Who did I have in my other quarterbacks I had? Shedeur, Cam, McCord. Dillon Gabriel's not a day one pick. I don't see him anywhere on day one boards. I think Dillon Gabriel is a very good quarterback. Probably overhyping him in round one. I think he could be at least a round 2, round 3 pick, but I think his talent is 100% there. I'm not a fan of Jalen Milroe. Please don't go get Jalen Milroe or Will Howard or Riley Leonard. Please. I just don't think any of those 3 guys are true passers, efficient throwers of the football. Jalen Milroe, yeah, freak athlete. Will Howard, not feeling him, man. System quarterback. Riley Leonard, running quarterback. It's got to be Shedeur Sanders at 9. And you want to talk about March for Arch next year? Arch Manning's probably not coming out of the draft. He needs 2 years of starting ball. At least. I'm not interested in Lenoris Sellers. We just talked about Nico Iamaleava. I'm not interested in Drew Aller out of Penn State. Could barely get the ball to his wide receivers and his tight ends. This is the year for the New Orleans Saints to draft a quarterback where it matters at number 9. I mean, the status is literally up in the air because you're not rolling forward with Jake Haener and Spencer Rattler. If you had to choose one of the 2, I would take Spencer Rattler. And not because a lot of y'all out there think that him and I look alike, which we don't. But I saw Spencer Rattler in college. I was not sold on him. Is he athletic? Can he show flashes? Can he look great on the field at times? Not even great. Can he look good? Yes, absolutely. And I hear your claim about, Adam, what if we had a completely healthy roster? Spencer Rattler is not it. And I don't think we need to fool ourselves into such things. Go turn on his tape in college. You'll understand why he was a late round pick. You'll understand it. You can call the Saints anything, but you can't call them boring. The front office incompetency is crazy. We got a quarterback now jerking us around a couple weeks before the draft. I think it secures that the Saints take a quarterback at 9. I pray it's Shedeur. Now, the Browns or the Giants have a very good chance at getting Shedeur Sanders. And if they do, then go get a wide receiver, right? Or go get an edge rusher at 9, right? Maybe trade back. But I think it's now or never with the quarterback position. Are you going to look 2 years into the future? Oh, yeah, and I'm good on Garrett Nussmeier from next year, too. I'm good on those guys, man. 2027, we don't know. Take what's in front of you. Go draft Shedeur Sanders at 9. Don't make it one of the franchise's biggest mistakes passing on Shedeur Sanders, drafting him at number 9. Let's get into every NFC West team's first round draft targets for the 2025 NFL Draft. We've got the 49ers drafting 11th. They could take a look at wide receiver, offensive line, corner, safety, but I'm going to go edge rusher here for them. You got James Pierce out of Tennessee, who you could really take a look at. Jack Sawyer. People are laughing at me for saying that he's a first round pick, but I do think Jack Sawyer is a first round pick. I do. You got Mykel Williams as well out of Georgia. At number 11, that's probably who you're looking at if you're going to go edge rusher for the Niners, because outside of Nick Bosa, who do you have rushing the passer? The Niners were 24th out of 32 teams in the NFL in sacks last year. Bosa was 5th in the league in pass rush win rate, and the team was 15th overall in pass rush win rate at 41%. So we've seen the Niners year over year get a Javon Kinlaw, get a Javon Hargrave, get a Nick Bosa, get a Chase Young, bring in multiple players at the position that can be very viable. And I think now is another time to do that. They've showed us that they can draft well in the trenches. So go and get yourself a defensive end, an edge rusher in this draft. Yes, I understand you could use a wide receiver after Debo leaving. The questions about Brandon Ayuk. You got Jawan Jennings and Ricky Pearsall. You take a look at the cornerback room. Really, you take a look at the defense, and it feels kind of odd to look at that depth chart now, but we know that they were very beat up last year. They lost Hufanga. They lost Hargrave, if I'm not mistaken. Ton of NFL free agency moves, so it's hard for me to remember every little thing. But the Niners have to go get an edge rusher. The Cardinals are drafting 16th, and I think there's no other position for them to look at than offensive line. And you can really take your pick between Kelvin Banks out of Texas, Will Campbell out of LSU, Josh Simmons out of Ohio State, Tyler Booker out of Alabama, Armand Membao out of Mizzou. Really take your pick between those guys. I think any of them will be there at 16. If I had to be realistic, I think Kelvin Banks and Will Campbell could be off the board. Maybe even Tyler Booker or Armand Membao. So, I mean, you're going to have your option. I don't think all 5 of these linemen are going to be off the board at 16th. The Cardinals were also 16th in the league at pass block win rate at 60%, 11th in the league at run block win rate at 72%. But overall, the reason for this pick is, like, we've seen Kyler Murray struggle year over year with a lot of subpar offensive line play in Arizona, and he's one of the most talented quarterbacks in the NFL today. He is. He might not win like you want. He might not have effort in the second half of the season like you want, but his talent is undeniable. It's undeniable at the position, and there's no argument for that. But he shouldn't have to always rely on his athleticism due to an offensive line letting him down. He should not have to do that. Although this year the O-line was solid, I'd say they only gave up 30 sacks, which was top 7 in the NFL. And their pass block win rate was decent. Their run block win rate was very good, I'd say, being 11th at 72%. But you got to go get an offensive line to protect Kyler Murray. I think that is a very, very important investment to make for the Cardinals at 16th. You have the Seahawks drafting 18th. I think also they're going to go offensive line and, again, take your pick: Kelvin Banks, Will Campbell, Josh Simmons, Tyler Booker, Armand Membow. Like, no question about that, right? They need to go get an offensive line because Sam Darnold will need all of the protection possible now being a Seattle Seahawk, because we know, I mean, a lot of quarterbacks can crumble under pressure, but, like, Sam Darnold really crumbles under pressure. like Sam Darnold really crumbles under pressure. So we need to sort that out for him. Seattle was 21st in pass block win rate at 58%. They were 28th in run block win rate at 69%. So they were bottom 3rd and bottom 5 overall in the NFL in those 2 categories. And they allowed the 3rd most sacks in the league with 54. Now, you could argue wide receiver because, yes, Devontae Adams is a little older. Cooper Kupp is older. I almost said Puka Nacua, but that's for the next team. You got JSN, who is, or excuse me, I did get it flipped up. Devontae Adams is a Ram. Cooper Kupp is a Seahawk. Excuse me. Y'all go ahead and flame me in the comments. I know that's how y'all do it before you even listen to someone correct their take. They got Cooper Kupp. They got JSN. Like those. Oh, and they have MVS. Those additions and that receiving core is solid. I say it's probably in contention for top 12, probably, in the league for, wide receiver trios or combinations, however you want to look at it. So I don't think that should stop them from going to get other guys at the position, because Cooper Kupp and MVS have both already celebrated their 30th birthdays. And corner in this need could be glaring as well, because Devon Witherspoon really only that true guy I feel like that you trust in the secondary. But I think offensive line without question is the need for the Seahawks. Again, when you have Sam Darnold, we know how he is when he gets under pressure. Seattle being 21st and 28th, respectively, in pass block and run block win rate, so not being very good in those categories, giving up the 3rd most sacks in the league. Go ahead and draft an offensive line. Go get you a Kelvin Banks out of Texas. Go get you a Tyler Booker out of Alabama if you need him. And then the LA Rams are drafting 26th, and I think they need to go grab a corner. No question about that. 3 of their 5 defensive backs are set to hit free agency next season. They were 20th in the league in pass yards per game given up defensively, 14th in the NFL with 13 INTs, and 13th in the NFL in passes defended, pass breakups with 73. So they're floating around middle of the pack in their secondary in the NFL, but they did have the 7th worst overall defense in yards per game given up. Yes, defensive yards per game given up, 7th worst. They were 20th in the league in pass yards per game given up. But all of that happened en route to a 10-7 record. So I think you go get Ben Morrison out of Notre Dame. I don't see Jahdae Barron or Will Johnson slipping to 26. We know that Travis Hunter is going to go very early on, like probably top 5 pick. But if those guys do slip, Jahdae Barron, Will Johnson, you got to go get them. If you think Maxwell Harrison out of Kentucky or maybe Trey Amos are worth the 26th pick in the first round, which they could arguably be, again, we have all these projections and these predictions about the draft, but if a trade happens, if a team doesn't select what you want, if a player falls, like it changes on the spot, right? So if those guys are in your wheelhouse or you think that they're going to be worth the pick at 26, go get them. Go get them. I think corner is the biggest glaring need for the Rams right now. So that was every NFC West team's best first-round draft target for the 2025 NFL Draft. The Rams drafting at 26 should go get a corner. The Seahawks drafting at 18th should go get an O-line. The Cardinals should also go draft offensive line at number 16. And then the Niners drafting at 11th. They should go get an edge rusher. Before we get out of here, y'all please make sure to remember we are sponsored by HyperX.com. I actually have my headset sitting over here, but I don't want to get out. You know what? I'll go grab it real quick. Hold on. Like I said, do not forget, we are sponsored by HyperX.com. I actually did get my Cloud 3 headset in. It is a wireless headset. Use code AJL at checkout to get 15% off of your order. Again, whether you're looking for good podcast equipment, a microphone, a keyboard, some headphones like this right here, good gaming equipment as well if you're a streamer, check out HyperX.com. Use code AJL for 15% off of your order at checkout. This headset's awesome, man. It's wireless, good for PC, PS5, PS4, Nintendo Switch as well. It's wireless, 120 hours, angled 53 millimeter drivers, which helps you with connecting it as well. You got an ultra clear microphone, gaming grade wireless. Thank you, HyperX, for the free gift. I haven't even busted this bad boy open yet, but I'm excited to see what happens with it. So yes, guys, HyperX.com. Like I said, you can see the brand right there, HyperX.com, code AJL. And don't forget, we're sponsored by Buy and Sell with AJL for all your worldwide professional real estate needs. I should have dropped these ad breaks in the middle of the beginning, but it is what it is. Pre-recorded show, tried to adjust to everything. Buy and Sell with AJL for all your worldwide professional real estate needs, whether you're looking to buy a home, sell a home, or invest in real estate. That is the team that you need to be working with. You can get on their monthly newsletters, their monthly neighborhood market reports. If you own a property and want to know what the real-time equity could be, if you're thinking about selling a property and want to know what it could be worth, if you've just been looking at a property in general in an area, contact Buy and Sell with AJL for all your worldwide professional real estate needs. That's the team you need to be working with 100%. Don't forget about HyperX.com. If you would like to go over to YouTube and donate to the show monetarily, a super like, a super chat, a super thanks, we would greatly appreciate that. No donation too big or too small. Or you can DM me on social media at NFL with AJL to donate to the show. If you want to talk with me about, giving monetarily to the show, I would greatly appreciate that. And don't forget to like and share the podcast wherever you're listening to this, please. And thank you very much. Go check us out on social media. That QR code in the corner of the screen is every bit of social media and podcast content. The link down in the description as well, at NFL with AJL. Check out the link tree. It's every bit of our stuff. Please subscribe on YouTube, like and share this podcast again. Hit that bell on YouTube so you never miss a post. That was episode 102. I really appreciate y'all tapping in. I hope you enjoyed the pre-recorded version of this show. It will be out before you know it. I love you guys. I need you guys. Get in the comments, please, and I will see y'all in episode 103.